What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now, scary kids shows from the 90s. I was born in 97, so no one can call me a fraud in the comments below, considering I was only 3 years old for the whole 90s period. However, I've done my very best to do this video justice, so please stand me in the comments below. But I'm not even gonna waste time with this one. I know you guys are all eager to see it, so let's just jump into it. These are the top 10 scary kids shows from the 90s. Starting us off with number 10 is EERIE, Indiana, almost like a precursor to Stranger Things, which I also have not watched. Either way, this early 90s series starred Hocus Pocus actor Omri Katz as Marshall Teller, a teenager whose family moves to desolate EERIE, Indiana, where the population was only 16,661, where a seemingly normal small town was never what it appeared to be. From school nurses that administer eye tests that brainwash students to ghosts coming back from the dead and eerie time travel, this show was a way before its time. The worst part, this show aired on Saturday mornings. What a way to kick off the weekend. Coming in at number 9 now, we have Ghostwriter, produced by the Sesame Workshop, the group behind Sesame Street and the Electric Company. Yes, you just heard that right, the producers of Sesame Street. Now, this show was about a group of friends living in Brooklyn who solve mysteries and crimes through their use of words in literature. They say words can't hurt. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Clearly, they will. This group will hurt you with their words. Intended to make children love reading and writing, the supernatural catch was that the young sleuths were aided by a ghost. That doesn't mean the show didn't have creepy episodes, it definitely did. Do you remember that nightmare-inducing character of Gooey Gus? It was just like a toxic Avenger-looking purple monster that spit slime into the mouths of the kids, which I feel like should be illegal in some capacity. Writer Kermit Frazier revealed that Ghostwriter's true identity was that of a runaway slave during the Civil War who was killed by his owners. Talk about very morbid and very racist. Now at number 8 we have Freaky Stories, a sort of Twilight Zone for kids. This animated show consisted of a series of 5-minute shorts of different animation and art styles that revolved around campfire stories and urban legends, which kind of sounds exactly what our channel is. Interesting. They range from original stories to well-known legends like the killer in the back seat, the hook man, or the babysitter and the man upstairs, which influenced the movies Black Christmas and When a Stranger Calls. It's so funny, I know for a fact every single person watching this knows those 3 stories, or a variation of them at least. I think the weirdest part for me was the hosts of the show, a slimy maggot and a blue cockroach looking thing. Each story had some sort of message or moral at the end, with several episodes devoted to characters committing crimes and paying dearly for them. Like an episode about a guy who tries to steal gas from an RV but instead hooks up to the septic tank and gets a nasty surprise. Each episode begins and ends with the phrase, "This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine." That's actually quite funny. But either way, that also made the episodes all the more ominous for the kids. Coming in hot at number 7, we have Animorphs. Now, you guys all absolutely had an older sibling who was all like, Animorphs is a big kids show, which is exactly why you wanted to watch it. We've all been there. My sisters did not watch this, but I feel like I was there. No, it's about 5 kids who are given the power to morph into any creature they wish to help them fight villainous Vicer 3 and his fellow Yeerks, a breed of parasitic aliens threatening Earth. Maybe it was a morphing into an animal that tripped me out, or the fact that the plot was super heavy for the fan base it was created for, but either way, very, very creepy. Coming in at number 6, we have the Demon Headmaster. If the title alone isn't unsettling enough, the plot definitely is. The original series ran between 1996 to 98 and starred Terrence Hardiman as the horrifying head. Back then, it followed a girl called Dina Glass who notices something strange about the school she attends with her foster brothers. The Demon Headmaster rules his school with his sea green eyes through which he hypnotizes the pupils. Kinda sounds like some of the Salvatore brothers on The Vampire Diaries. Love that. When Dina arrives, she sets up Splat, a group designed to protect the pupils from the head's paranormal powers and to break his dictatorship. They were talking about a reboot last year, but the story has changed a little bit. Has anyone dared to watch? I certainly haven't. Coming in at number 5, we have The Secret Worlds of Alex Max, starring Alyssa Olenek, a teenage girl with a normal life until she's doused with a chemical that gives her abilities, including but not limited to shooting electricity from her fingers and liquefying into a mobile puddle. That's a fun skill. Wish I could turn into a puddle sometimes and I'm highly embarrassed. The near accident that involved a chemical plant's truck spilling on her could have easily made her into a Marvel character, and the show did have the sense of wavering between being a superhero show, but it wasn't. It was terrifying alone that she could just liquefy. On cue, liquefy. At number 4 now, we have GOGS. From 1993, GOGS revolves around a family clan of dumb, primitive, and socially inept cavemen in a fantasy prehistoric Stone Age setting and contained much dark comedy, various toilet humor based gags, and gross out situations, like the cavemen losing control of their bodily functions. Here's the thing, this show wasn't as terrifying in terms of plot as some of the others on the list, but everything about it was absolutely beyond cringeworthy, and you can imagine your little 8-year-old self watching this with little context and thinking, what the hell? The sound effects alone just still haunt me. I mean, not still, when I YouTubed it this morning. Coming in at number 3, we have Tales from the Crypt / Crypt Keeper. This popular TV series was directed towards people of all ages. It frightened both young and old alike, with the famed Crypt Keeper who was just humorous enough to make you think that the show might not be too scary after all, but still creepy enough to make your skin crawl, and he also made the introductions and closing comments for each segment with witty puns that really did have a dark humor about them. I'm not gonna lie, you did well. You creep. The show brought some big time celebrities on board throughout its 7-year run. Being so popular, HBO subsequently came out with Tales from the Crypt Keeper, and having the show as a cartoon and toned down a bit still didn't totally make the whole idea less scary. Despite the show's light-hearted spin, episodes include tales about what would happen if you cry wolf, encounters with monsters, and getting sucked into a gravesite, all of which I would not want to experience myself. And I don't wish it upon any of you either, my lovely precious subscribers. Filling our number 2 slot is Goosebumps. It was a tough choice making this number 2 because it is arguably the most famous of all creepy kids shows from this era, and whether you read the books that the TV show was based on or not, Goosebumps was bound to give you nightmares if you watched it as a kid. I read so many of the books growing up and I absolutely loved them. They did scare me a little bit. If I was reading them home alone, I'm like, oh, is the dummy gonna come get me? Is the dummy alive? You know the ones I'm talking about. Somehow this children's show was able to sneak things in that the children's shows of today wouldn't dare to do. From Slappy the living dummy terrorizing his owner to entire family basically dying on their trip to Horrorland, to an episode where a mask gets permanently stuck to a kid's face. Like, this is no joking matter. None of this is a joking matter at all. And finally, coming in at number 1 is Are You Afraid of the Dark? It is not a question, it is in fact the name of the show, and it tops this list because it preceded our number 2 and paved the way for creepy storytelling that would haunt everyone for years to come. Round of a slow applause. Now this show is a Canadian classic and it's centered around a group of storytellers who are just on the verge of entering their teen years. How exciting teen angst ensues. Now each would take turns telling the rest of the group the scariest stories they could muster while gathered around a campfire. This gave viewers an even eerier setting to kick off the creepy tales, and honestly I'm just getting creeped out thinking about it. It was extremely dark for younger viewers, but that didn't stop them from watching it. They ate that up. If you want to play a cruel Halloween joke on your friends, then have them watch some episodes like The Tale of Laughing in the Dark, The Tale of the Ghastly Grinner, and The Tale of Watcher's Woods. However, if you really want them to sleep with a nightlight on for the foreseeable future, have them check out The Tale of the Dead Man's Float. The crimson red corpse that rises from the depths of a pool looks like a poltergeist escapee. And that is it for today's video, guys. Scary shows from the 90s. Why don't I remember any of them? Probably because I was 3 during the 90s. Sorry. I think the scariest thing I watched was Courage the Cowardly Dog, which is very scary. I don't care what you say. But let me know which one of these scared you the most growing up in the 90s in the comments below. As always, I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.